Welcome, Jackednnerdy fans, to my YouTube channel. Jeremy here with a review video for the first 2 episodes of the new Amazon series, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Now, before I jump into that review, just a reminder, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on a video. And if you do enjoy our content, please make sure you give the video a thumbs up. That way that lets us know again that you're enjoying our content and encourages us to keep going. So with that out of the way, the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. So this has now become the most expensive TV show ever created. I believe Amazon have invested over $1 billion into this franchise with the view of doing a 5-season stretch. The budget per episode at the moment for season 1, as I understand it, is about $60 million per episode. And I have to say, just going off of the first 2 episodes, or even just the first episode, you can see that they have invested that money. The visuals are absolutely spectacular. The cinematography, the landscapes, everything. It really does bring you back to Middle-earth and make you feel like you're returning to this world and this realm. The costuming is absolutely beautiful, especially in terms of like the elven costumes, the armors, all of those sorts of things. So they really did spare no expense with this franchise. So look, if you've seen my initial reaction video, I was very blown away by these first 2 episodes. I'm invested in this world. I'm invested in these characters. Now, as I said in the initial reaction video, these 2 first episodes really take the time to kind of world build. They're introducing you to a lot of brand new characters that we're not familiar with. Well, to the average person, they're not familiar with. New actors, a new kind of reintroduction, so to speak, to this world, because this world is different to the movies that we've all come to know. Obviously this is an Amazon series. It's not a Warner Brothers film series, so there is that slight disconnect. It's not like it's a direct sequel or prequel or prologue or what have you. So whilst there are characters that we recognize, obviously we haven't got those actors coming back into those roles, but we'll get more into that later on. It's a completely new interpretation and reintroduction into this world. However, there are elements that make you feel at home and at ease. So the trailers to this didn't really give much away of what the actual overall story was. So going into this, I was a little bit vague on exactly what the story was going to be, and they do a pretty good job of partly telling you that in these first 2 episodes. Obviously, if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan or fanatic like I am, you may be a little bit lost. So let me try, and without giving any major spoilers away or plot details, I'll try and give you a little bit of an indication of where it sits. So this series takes place about 1,000 or more years before the events of the Lord of the Rings. So this is before the rise of Sauron into power, and it's also taking place before the events of the rings being created. Now, I believe by the end of this series, or maybe not even the series, but the end of the franchise, these rings will be created. So this is kind of like this telling the story of the elves and men and everything in the lead up to when the Rings of Power were created. So if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, you will recognize characters like Elrond of Rivendell and Galadriel. Whilst the actors, so Robert Aramayo plays Elrond, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name. I'm very sorry. But the actress that plays Galadriel, whilst they both do very, very good jobs in these characters, as such a fan of the original movies, I would have loved to have seen them maybe bring back Cate Blanchett and Hugo Weaving into those roles, and maybe spend some of that $60 million on de-aging. As a fan, I would have absolutely lost my mind and gone insane if they had done that. Obviously, they've chosen not to, and they are separating themselves from that franchise. So, look, in terms of their casting choice with those characters, I can't blame them for that, and they have done a good job, especially with Galadriel. She's a very talented actress and very beautiful and fits within that role. The standout actor, though, to me, was a actor that I'm not overly familiar with. Now, I hope I don't butcher his name. It's Ismael Cruz Cordova. He plays an elf soldier called Arandia. He was a real standout for me, and I really apologise if I have butchered his name, but he was an absolute standout for me. I'm not familiar with any of his work prior to this, but just the way he portrayed his character was absolutely fantastic. So keep an eye out for him, and let me know what you think of him as well. So going back to it, so obviously if you're a fan of the books and the movies of the Lord of the Rings, there is that callback, and there are those characters that you're familiar with. They're obviously being 1,000 years prior to those events, a lot of the other characters are relatively unknown and haven't appeared in much before. If you are a fan of the video game franchise, which again, I am a big fan of the video game franchise, I've played a lot of those, you will also recognize that they bring in a character called Celebrimbor. Now, as soon as they mentioned his name in it, obviously I sat up in my chair and I had a little bit of a giggle, because I think this is fantastic and it kind of ties in that lore as well. If you're not familiar, Celebrimbor is the elven smith, or who created the Rings of Power and forged them in the elven forges. So having that character come in as well just kind of helps tie things into the various laws and things like that. People who have only played the video games will recognize it, recognize the character. So that's all really good. So like I said, all in all, they've done a very good job of getting the film fans in, the book fans in, the video game fans in. They've done a great job with the casting, albeit though, like I said, the only thing that I really would have liked to have seen is maybe them try to tie it in and internet connect it a little bit more by bringing some of those actors back into those roles from the original movie franchise, just to kind of give it a little bit more kind of, for lack of a better term, fan service. But that being said, beggars can't be choosers. Like I said, so the first 2 episodes, they very, very much focus on world building, introducing you to all the different characters who are going to be playing big roles moving forward into this series and into this franchise. Kind of giving you an indication of who these characters are, what their motives are, what their backgrounds are, and setting things up for what's to come. I'm very, very interested to see where this goes. As I said, look, whilst not a lot happens in the first 2 episodes, a lot happens in the sense that they're just building everything up. There's not a lot of action, so to speak. But there's a lot of conversations and dialogue. So moving forward, I'm hoping for a bit more action moving on with the next few episodes. I want to see some conflicts and various things. And episode 2 does leave you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. Well, not a cliffhanger, but it leaves you on the edge of your seat wanting more. And I think that's very important because you don't want to end an episode going, okay, well, I know where we're at. There are no loose ends. There's nothing to tie up. I'm content. No, you want to end each episode with the audience wanting more, and they've definitely done that with these episodes. Episode 1, you want to know what happens next. Episode 2, you want to know what happens next. So, like I said, all in all, I'm 100% on board with this show. I love the lore, I love the mythology, I love the stories, I love the characters. You can say what you want. Look, I'm 100% on board. I cannot wait to see where this goes. Being a Lord of the Rings fan, you don't have to do much to get me hooked. Just tell a good story, have great characters. So, look, this is my kind of more in-depth discussion based on my viewing of the 2 episodes last night. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this non-spoiler for everyone out there who has not yet seen the 2 episodes. I was lucky enough to see an early release of them. The rest of the world will not get to see these episodes and for another 24 to 48 hours. So, like I said, I want to keep this all completely spoiler-free. I want everyone to experience these first 2 episodes for themselves, make up their own mind on what they think. And then what we'll do is when the series is finished, we will go into a real more in-depth spoiler discussion. So for now, I'm just keeping everything spoiler-free. These are my views. This is a bit of a rundown of what the show is about and the characters and look, like I said, I'm all in. Let me know what your thought. Once you've watched the episodes, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you as excited to see how the show unfolds as I am? Look, until next time, guys, stay jacked and stay nerdy.